Daquan's rise to fame was extremely fast, and he began streaming consistently in November 2017, but little did he know that he chose the perfect game at the perfect time, Fortnite Battle Royale. He'd start off with around 5 viewers, and only 1 week later, he'd already surged to a peak of 87 live viewers. Daquan was quickly attracting an audience due to his high level of skill on the game,
back in them
but it wasn't
organic
just skill.
days.
Daquan also had a natural talent as an entertainer, and people were drawn into his hilarious personality. Things started moving even faster, and the following week his live viewer count would skyrocket to 500, and more fuel was added to the fire when Daquan would randomly end up in a squads lobby with the then popular streamer Dakotas. The two would have instant chemistry, and Dakotas took notice of how good Daquan was at the game and would get him invited to the first Fortnite Invitational competitive matches. And in these games, Daquan would live up to the hype and go on to win many of these private tournaments. And with the lobbies being full of huge streamers that Daquan was wiping out with ease, it wasn't long before he saw even more growth. And by the end of December, he now had 5 invitational wins, 700 wins in public games.
Back then on Fortnite, if you was the best, I guess this kind of goes for any game though. If you're the best, the fans is going to instantly flock to you.
And had peaked at around 3,000 live viewers. This was absolutely incredible if you consider the fact that just 45 days ago, Daquan was streaming.
Hey, Daquan was that nigga with the double pump.
10 people. It was now 2018, and he'd continue grinding, going live every day.
This nigga's double pumping from 100 yards.
And by early February, he would reach 10,000 live viewers, with his YouTube now seeing 10 million views in a month. On top of this, he would also sign to the pro esports org TSM. In March, he would then break the world record for the most kills in one game.
40?
By April, he had solidified himself as one of the biggest streamers in the world.
Man, I miss the old Fortnite though, bruh. These days was good for the game. You know what I'm saying? It was simple, it wasn't a whole lot. Now it's like too much in the game, bro.
World, averaging 10,000 viewers every stream. Daquan would also collab with other huge...
Bro, back then that was big though. You gotta think, this is where Twitch kind of really got its start once again. Like, Twitch had its eras, you know what I'm saying? This was kind of like a new era for Twitch, you know, because at the time, Ninja was the biggest. So that 10K was a lot, bro. That 10K was a lot, bro. Streaming wasn't as big as it is now. To have 10K is a lot.
Averaging 10,000 viewers every stream.
So back at 2018.
Daquan would also collab with other huge streamers and would move to LA to live in the now iconic TSM streamer house alongside his roommates Hamlins and Myth, who are also some of the biggest streamers in the world at the time, with the three often collaborating together on and off stream, creating even more buzz around Daquan. And his growth was unstoppable, as by June 2018, Daquan would now peak at 150,000 live viewers. And when you consider he'd only been streaming
for something going on for that
around 7 months at this point, this level of viewership was nothing other than jaw-dropping. And his YouTube channel would eventually peak in August 2018 with 68 million views, and Daquan seemed to be happier than ever. However, in this very month, Daquan would reveal details about his past and how he'd previously had serious struggles with his health and had been battling depression.
Yeah, so like I'm 20, I had a really high paying job. I was just having the time of my life, man. And then I got extremely sick. I was sick for 3.5 years. Very, very, very sick. I had to quit my job. I was literally just sitting in my bed. It was just severe nausea. At all times, it just felt like I was being stabbed in my stomach. And then 3 months went by, and 6 months went by, and then a year went by. And that's when I really started getting depressed. And then on top of that, I had my first lung collapse. I was literally in the hospital for a month just for that. To this day, I still never knew what was wrong with me, and I still have those feelings sometimes in my stomach. I don't know, I just kind of like fight through it and ignore it as if it's not even there. My entire life was just ripped from me, you know? So I was super depressed, man. Like, it was really bad.
Daquan still felt he hadn't fully overcome the sickness. However, he would fight through and ignore the pain and continued streaming consistently all throughout 2018, going live almost every day, consistently averaging 20 to 30,000 live viewers. 2018 would be an incredible success.
That's a lot, bro, back
and going
then,
into the new year, Daquan would...
Now, niggas, that's their average, like, but back then, that's your average, nigga. It's a whole lot
set
different.
himself a New Year's goal of uploading daily content in 2019. However, that goal was far from met, and 2019 would prove to be a troubling year for Daquan. For the first few months of the year, he would stream a lot less than the year prior and was often tweeting about his struggles with sickness. But things weren't all bad, as he was still fairly active, and his streams were still doing amazing, averaging 20,000 viewers despite Fortnite losing some popularity. However, by the end of April, it seemed his health problems were becoming much harder to manage, as the following month he would only go live 9 times, with Daquan tweeting, "The worst type of stomach problems are the ones where you don't know what the cause is, so you're just always in pain / nauseated and don't know how to make it go away. Hopefully we'll figure it out soon. I'm trying."
That nigga might have had cancer or something.
And
man.
unfortunately, he wouldn't figure it out.
If they can't figure that shit out, bro, it sound like he had cancer or something, bro.
With him not posting a single upload to YouTube or going live even once for the next 2 months. And after 2 months away, he would eventually tweet about how he's feeling better and should be returning very soon. He stayed true to his word and had his return stream on the 10th of August 2019, going live to a peak view account of 80,000, showing just how many people had missed him.
Yeah, man,
this
we
was
fuck with
accompanied by a
Daquan.
return to YouTube with a video titled, "Where Have I Been?", giving his audience an insight into his life and why he left.
Yo, what's good, everybody? I miss y'all, man. I miss everything. During my whole time grinding, I was dealing with all those health issues. Finding out what was wrong with me was a top priority this year, and that was the reason for my original break. And having all that said, things continued to go downhill. Exy, she ended up eating at a restaurant and catching E. coli. On top of that, she had a really bad reaction to the antibiotics that she was on. Balancing all of this on top of streaming a game that I started to find very unfun and more of a chore to play, it really sucked. Literally, all the things I blocked out, all the things I ignored, all the stress I swept under the rug, it just caught up to me, you know? I just missed the feeling of waking up ready to play a game that I fell in love with, and I haven't had that feeling in a very long time. I started to dislike Fortnite once I started playing pro. It was just a snooze fest. I've gone through so much, but I'll be alright. I'm gonna be back super consistent on everything soon enough.
Yeah, man, shit don't be hitting the same after a while, bro. Like, it be times, bro, I don't feel like recording no videos, bro. I'm like, bro, I do not want to sit here, because like he said, it be feeling like a chore, bro, you know?
I miss you guys, man.
Following this video, Daquan's girlfriend's health condition would get worse, and this seemed to impact his stream schedule, with him being very inconsistent throughout August. Daquan would then have a small run of consistency before disappearing again in the middle of November, and this was followed by a tweet where he would write about how bad his girlfriend's health had become and how it was destroying his mental state. During his hiatus, Daquan would post a tweet longer in December 2019, writing about how it hasn't been his year, and in 2020, he would be back. But that didn't turn out to be true. And despite saying he'd be in the full swing of things by January, he wouldn't go live or upload a single video until 26th of February 2020, almost a quarter of the way throughout the year. And if you thought that disappearance was bad, what follows is much worse. And Daquan would go live just twice more before completely disappearing for the whole of 2020. Not to mention, this was during the peak of the coronavirus, where he would have been likely stuck inside, with presumably not much to do.
No, yeah. Stop. Stop. Stop.
And streamers were now getting more views than ever, with Twitch seeing massive growth all around. But with no tweets, no streams, and no YouTube videos following March 2020, people were in the dark of where Daquan was. And it wasn't until November 2020, after 8 months, his fans would get any kind of answer, with a tweet writing how he felt better than he had in years. Many expected this to be his return, but little did his fans know at the time, Daquan was in fact very far from returning. December 2020, he was ghost. January, February, March of 2021, nothing. Daquan had been gone so long, YouTubers began making video essays on his disappearance, with multiple viral videos. Daquan's fans had made it very clear that they wanted him back, with thousands of comments showing their support for him. However, Daquan would not return despite this outpouring of love, and was nowhere to be seen all the way until August 2021, when he would finally show he was still alive with a mysterious tweet of the emoji eyes. And if you thought that after almost 2 years of inactivity, Daquan would be irrelevant, you'd be very wrong. People were more hungry for his content than ever, and it showed, with this tweet getting over 300,000 likes, and a huge outpour of massive creators showing their excitement. Something big was definitely coming, and this was followed by posters and billboards showing up all around LA, with Daquan and his former TSM teammate Hamlin's, with quotes such as, "Have you seen these streamers?" and "Find the streamers." This was followed up 2 days later by the announcement that Daquan had joined NRG alongside Hamlin's and 7 other friends to make a content house called the NRG Foom House. A YouTube channel was created for the group, with the first video titled "Revealing Daquan and Hamlin's New Content House," which quickly gained 3 million views and would show Daquan in his new $7 million content house. And a couple weeks later, Daquan would stream for the first time in a year and a half, seeing a peak view account of 90,000 live watching. But as is often the case with creators, if they have disappeared before and are notoriously inconsistent, they will often do the same in the future. And well, that turned out to be the case for Daquan. Despite huge money invested by the org, huge numbers pulled in new content, and Daquan proving he can still stream to a massive audience on Twitch, after just 2 months of uploads to the channel, the NRG Foom House would stop uploading, and it was over already. Daquan would also have his last stream of 2021 in the same month, and his last tweet before disappearing through November and December. This was so confusing. He just had this massive hyped return, and now he was already gone? What was going on? Well, viewers would eventually get answers in January of 2022, with Daquan tweeting, "Alright, time to talk about everything," and going live on his Twitch. This was accompanied by a video to his YouTube addressing everything. In the video, he explains all the problems with the Foom House, with the main issue being that apparently the internet was absolutely terrible, and Daquan's room had no hot water or heating. Whilst his fans were showing support in the YouTube comments, many people on Reddit were not impressed by this video, with comments such as, "Zero credibility with this guy, came back for a paycheck, he just used his fans, streams and then disappears again. My favorite part was him complaining about how he had to sleep in the movie room. I hope I never experience cold so bad in a bedroom of my mansion that I have to sleep in the movie room. If only he had enough money to buy an electric heater." Following this, he would tweet about how his nightmare was over. I'm going to mention how he was in the process of moving back to Vegas.
I mean, money's definitely slowing down, bro, if he ain't posting.
And couldn't wait to do IRL content. By February the 7th, he'd now moved in and had internet, but in his return stream, things were very different. He'd clearly grown very tired of Fortnite. After all, the game was completely different now to how it was in its peak 4 years ago, and Daquan would decide to stream a game other than Fortnite, seeing him play Lost Ark. And let's just say this change in content, accompanied by his extreme levels of inconsistency over the last 3
nobody's
years,
gonna want to watch
turned
that
out
shit.
to not go well together, and he'd see an average of 3,700 viewers, all while
That's good though. That's good.
500 followers.
Damn.
But then 2 days later, he would jump back on Fortnite, averaging 14,000 viewers and gaining 3,000 new followers, showing that
Yeah,
if
it's just gonna keep dropping though.
he just kept playing
Fortnite's not the same. You know what I'm saying? That's why a lot of people was playing Fortnite that no longer even play the game, including me. You know what I'm saying? So
Fortnite, he'd still be one of the biggest streamers in the world. But despite the successful stream, Daquan would never go live ever again following this stream. And since this moment,
hey man, all that money and fame and he can pull the numbers, that's not keeping him happy though, man. At the end of the day, bro, I know the viewers, y'all probably want content or whatever, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, even me, I wish some niggas would post more, drop more music, whatever, but I understand real life, bro. You know? This shit, it becomes a chore, man. And then you got all these people in your life, and it's like you don't never get to breathe. You know what I'm saying? He probably already gets enough people coming up to him in real life, you know? So sometimes, man, you just, you get disconnected from it, bro.
He hasn't gone live in over 3.5 years, with not a single explanation of where he has been. No tweets, no videos, no Instagram posts, no streams, leaving his audience completely in the dark. Throughout 2022 and 2023, fans would wait and hope for a return, or even just a tweet from Daquan to explain where he'd gone and if he was okay, but that would never come. However, there was an important development in November 2023 with the announcement of Fortnite OG being released, which would see the game revert back to its old original map, loot pool, and mechanics. This sparked a lot of hype around old Fortnite streamers who had reached huge viewership back in the early days of Fortnite. With fans wanting a hit of nostalgia, players like Myth, Tfue, and Ninja were sure to see a huge influx in viewership, and this announcement reignited speculations of Daquan's whereabouts, with many wondering if this was the moment to encourage him to return to streaming. If he came back now to play OG Fortnite, it's highly likely he would have been streaming to a huge audience, and if there was
He don't care about that, bro. It's not the same. It's not the initial that went away, bro. Times change.
time to return, this was it. However, his old TSM teammate Myth would tweet, "Spent this morning thinking about how I'm gonna log into OG Fortnite without the real OG squad," clearly suggesting that he'd had no contact with Daquan, and nothing to suggest that Daquan would be making a return, which of course was heartbreaking for fans. After so long with no explanation, some fans would start to get emotional, as they felt they deserved at least a tweet to explain why he had left. And for the first time, some of his fans seemed to be losing their patience with Daquan.
Welcome to the NRG Thoom house, baby.
Waste of $7 million. You finessed all of your fans for millions of dollars just to leave again. I don't give a if you got problems, bro. I know damn well it's not big enough problems to not make a single tweet.
Bro, who gave him millions of dollars? If y'all donated to his stream and that nigga ain't been live, that's on you, bro. Like, what? You done that? Who says it's scamming him? How you know them fans didn't do that? Oh, he ain't been live. I hope he's doing good. Let me support him and, you know what I'm saying, sub up. You know, like, what?
And I don't give a if you got problems, bro. I know damn well it's not big enough problems to not make a single tweet. Finesse.
Bro, it's a content house, bro. That's your fault for even getting involved in it in the first place. I'm talking about the other people that was involved in it, bro. You already know that shit ain't gonna work. What content house is lasting? I mean, yeah, you can argue AMP, this, that, and the third. There's a couple. You know what I'm saying? But they're not literally living there full time all the fucking time. Them niggas take breaks from that shit, man. You know what I'm saying? And it's just not healthy, bro. You're living around people that you don't even know. You know what I'm saying? And then you're always having to be in that character, be in that role, be in that. I don't know. Personally, I don't want to live in a house with a whole bunch of niggas. You know what I'm saying? We could work, we could do this, that, and the third, but I'm not living with y'all. I want to go home to a woman. You know what I'm saying? I want to have our own space. You know what I'm saying? Away from y'all. Like, what the hell?
All of y'all, bro, for money. I just find it so weird how you can put all of your friends in this house, have a $7 million house, and literally, like, leave your fan base and not make a single tweet. I think Hamlin's is cool. Didn't he make a tweet about it? But Daquan just left. I don't understand that.
Back and we taking over. Yes, sir.
And they probably didn't even buy the shit, bro. It was probably a rental or something.
Yeah, we're taking over.
This is exactly how I feel. They do not care about anyone on the internet, especially the people that got them where they are now. Straight scammed NRG2, said the house couldn't get stable internet. However, some fans
I don't think nobody got scammed, bro. Definitely not the fans. If you want to say NRG, I mean, that's just the part of doing business. Shit don't work out.
as were more understanding, suggesting Daquan didn't owe anyone anything, and it was likely due to his depression or physical health issues that he had disappeared. On top of this, some streamers would also speculate as to where Daquan had disappeared, or why he disappeared.
The only scary thing about stepping away from content creation is if you step away, you might lose your passion for content creation. Like, you might realize that maybe it's not what you want to do in life. I think that happened with Hamlin's. I think that happened with Daquan. I think when they stepped away and they stopped making content, they realized, oh man, like
I know when I stepped away, they took my channel, terminated it. I stepped away. I said, Yeah, I'm cool on it. You know what I'm saying? It don't hit the same. You know what I'm saying? I got another channel monetized. It's been monetized. You know what I'm saying? Could have been grinding it, but I said fuck it. You know what I'm saying? And that opened me up to see other opportunities though. You know what I'm saying? I learned not to put all my eggs just into one basket. That being, don't just rely specifically on YouTube to provide you money. You know what I'm saying? It's other ways to make money out here, man. You know, this isn't the only way you can be successful, you know?
Really want to make content. And the only way you realize that is once you make that decision to walk away from it.
And one thing I've realized is sitting at this fucking computer, sitting in one spot is hard for me. I need to be moving, bro. I'm an active person. You know what I'm saying? I'm an athletic person. You know what I'm saying? So I be getting tired just sitting here.
Once you make that decision, you have time to think, to process things, to do things in your life that you haven't had the time to do. So time will tell.
It's unclear what the reason is for Daquan's disappearance, but if I were to speculate, in his career, he would have likely made millions, if not tens of millions of
He
dollars.
don't care about
so
that,
he had
man.
enough money to disappear.
That's not what keep people happy, bro. He knows he still has access to that. So if he ever got into a severe struggle where he really needed, he could turn that camera on for a quick second and make $1. He ain't worried about it, man. If he ain't worried about it, if he ain't worried about his well-being, and he's still out here living, as long as he ain't like Delonte West on some crack on the side of the road, he good, man. Don't need to be worried about him, man. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we miss him. We want him to post, but you got your own life to live, bro. We human at the end of the day, man.
Never have to work again for the rest of his
Regular
life,
people at the
especially
end of
when
the
you
day.
consider he majored in business studies at college. Also, Daquan clearly had long-standing mental health struggles with depression and serious physical health issues too. And when you couple this with the extremely high expectations his fans hold of him, perhaps
Bro, I missed that
he
Fortnite,
found the
bro.
pressure too much.
That was a
And with
lit
enough
era.
money saved up, why not just go out at the top and focus on improving his mental and physical health? However, amongst all of this, it is hard to see why he couldn't take a very small amount of time to load up Twitter and even give a minor explanation as to where he's been and just tell his fans
What
that
do you
he's
need to
okay.
explain?
It's unclear if Daquan will ever make a return, but it's safe to say he will always be remembered as one of the greatest streamers of all time, and he won't be forgotten anytime soon.
Nah. Yeah, man. Hope Daquan doing good though, man. You know what I'm saying? Hope he doing good, you know what I'm saying? And he just is just stepping back. He doesn't want to be in the spotlight. You know what I'm saying? It's understandable, you know? It's understandable, man. Now let me know what y'all think though. We on the road to 100K. Okay, if you ain't hit that like button, subscribe button, and turned on all notifications, slap the dog shit about yourself, because that's the first thing you should have did when you clicked on this video. I get at y'all in the next one, and I'm gone. TYP the name.